move the camera. And she's gone back on again. So you just, there you go, it's on the floor, but it's off. And then we've got our last head cylinder red nut on. We'll undo that again and then take the socket off. And again take them off in an X. Again, you notice, I don't know if you can actually see that or not, but the writing's towards me. That's why I'm saying you can always put your nuts back on as you took them off, simply because you put it that way round with the writing on it facing you. That's my tip for any nut and bolt that you've got. So diagonally and downwards I'm taking this off. This is a P200 engine, and what they've done is they've moved the cylinder around so the exhaust sits at an angle. I'll show you that when we take the barrel off. The writing's on there again. I just need to wipe these, keep them clean. Top one. Now I'm expecting this to be quite oily because I've had 4% Lambretta petrol dumped in here when I drained down the GP. And again, I know I keep harking on about it, but the writing is facing you. And again, these are all stainless steel washers, just preventing rust basically. Build it once, build it first time, build it right. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lift up the seat and just move that out of the way. So that bracket out of the way so we can move it now. And don't drop your screwdriver on yourself. And we've got all our washers to come off of here as well, so give that a wiggle. It's actually caught on the petrol pipe, but right, so we've got all our washers on the head. So if I turn that over, all I can smell is petrol actually. So one washer and a flat washer, same on there, same on there. If I turn that over, the same on there. Is it going to fall? Yes, it has. Couldn't feel that. So I'd expect that on a, you know, this bike's basically just run. There's a hell of a lot of oil there, which is what I'd actually expect. I'm going to be cleaning all that up anyway. And if we just kick it over a little bit, you'll see the piston come up. It is quite oily actually. Don't run your bike on 6%. It's not a GS like me. You can see the carbon build up on the piston there. Just try and get it back up and rotate it around a bit. That's top. Just coming up to top dead center. That's top there. So it's just literally neat oil and petrol. I can smell the petrol. So what I'm going to do now is continue to take off the cowling, which is the screwdriver again. the Phillips bit on this. They were originally cheese heads, but use what you've got. Right, that one off. This is the one thing I do like about a Vespa. You don't have to take running boards off. Everything, you know, I could do what I'm doing now by just taking off the side of the engine and taking the clutch out, knocking the crankshaft out, and then putting the seals in. I could do it probably in about half a day. And because the carburetor, etc., sits on this side of the engine, you don't even need to undo the carburetor. I'll show you what the gear does. On the back of, I'll move you around this way, excuse the camera work. On the back of here you've got an earth lead. If that breaks off, it doesn't make any difference anyway. It's just somewhere to hang another earth on, basically, because you've got the two green wires basically would be earth on the CDI unit. That's a brand new CDI unit on there, which I think I've actually put that on the video before. So we've got one more screw to undo down here, and then the fan cowling comes off. Good old Victorian engineering, nuts and bolts. Alright, so cowling, I'm just sticking safely, and we've got our gear selector cover, which has got tons of grease in it, and just drop the screw out of it, so I'll put that safe as well. And I need that screw. I'll get the pliers and pick it up. So literally in 10 minutes, what have we achieved? We've got half of the engine stripped down already. I'm just bringing you back across, sorry. So we've got ourselves half the engine stripped down. I'm going to be taking the cylinder off just to make the engine lighter, and I'll probably take the flywheel off. The carburetor box is coming off next. We've got the wiring to disconnect. Now you can, with the gear selector mechanism, just unbolt it and take it off and leave the cables connected, but for all my purposes I'm going to put new, I might even put new outer cables in as well, but I'm going to change the new to new inners. There's nothing wrong with these, absolutely nothing wrong with them at all. It's just while I'm taking them apart, I've got the opportunity basically, and it shows you inside the handlebars the wiring I've got up there that's different from a normal PX. Like I say, you know, there's no other reason really than to show people, otherwise I could just take the side of the engine off and do that. So next we're going to take the carburetor cover off. I'm just checking the camera so you can see that. Not really, so I'll try and move you a bit closer. There's two screws holding the cover on, one at the front and one at the back. There's one, front one, and they are special screws, don't lose them, unless you've got new ones of course. In a previous video you've seen where I fixed the petrol tank because the on-off didn't work. The original tank that came with this bike I put on a restoration PX 125 that I built a while back. So you see the shape of the head of that screw, and the Phillips again. That's the front one. Let's take the back one off, and the cover slips off. You just loosen it a bit. We can explore what auto lube is. So again, we've got another screw. As far as I know, they're the same length, which they are, exactly the same screw. And they've got that shape head on them. If I put it in front of the lens, they've got that shape head on them, so you can actually, when you're pushing them down, you can actually center them in the hole before you start screwing the screw in. So let's put our flat blade on. Good old Lambretta screwdriver, I've had it donkey's years, never let me down. Right, so our lids are now off, and it's pretty dry inside, which is a good sign. I can put the lid away. And then we've got 2 screws again on the top, one in the front, one in the back. That's your tick over screw, basically. The air screws in the back. When I take the carb out, I'll show you. So we need to take the air filter off next. One. That one, I always seem to really tighten the front one up for some reason. I'm dead worried about them vibrating off. Right, so we've got 2 different screws this time. One goes through at the back, and you can see it holds on the inside of the air filter and screws onto the carburetor, and the front one holds the top down, which you can probably see when I take it off. So one holds that bit down and one holds that bit down. So at the back, that goes all the way through and holds it down from there. Now people tell you to drill out the heart. I don't think it makes a lot of difference, to be honest with you, but you know, this is a standard, and when we take it apart you'll see, for me to tune this I'll be killing an engine. If it had a worn rotary valve, then fair enough, you know, go in, do what you got to do, take it apart and read valve or whatever and tune it up. But when you've got good casings like on this scooter, it's not a very good idea to ruin a good set of casings. That's why I've more or less, I mean, it's a standard piston, brand new barrel piston when I rebuilt this engine about 5 years ago. So right, air filter off now. Now we've got the air bellows, and just pull that off in a circular motion, and a circular motion at the air box. We've got our oil feed, we've got our choke, which is that one, and we've got our throttle. They just need unclipping. I'm going to have to stand you up a bit more so you can see inside the carburetor. I'll try and get you as close as I can. Hopefully you can see this. The carburetor, the choke mechanism works on a plunger, and if I can show you that working on there, it should be able to hold all the way out in various stages. So you can pull it on to start your engine and bring it halfway back when it starts warming up, or you know, 9/10 or in, and that works on the choke itself, that mechanism there. So if we pull the cable, can you see that? And you can look down there and it clears the hole. That's your choke jet. Now the easiest way to get this off is to get a screwdriver under there and just unclip the cable, or a pair of pliers, of course. I happen to have too big a pair of pliers, so I'm going to put that under there, pull it as if it's going on, and then just unhook the cable. Or maybe I will use the pliers. No, I won't. No, I won't. Or the easiest way, I suppose, is just unscrew that choke mechanism. That's it. And what it does then, it will just leave a load of slack on the cable that we can just unpick it without being under tension. I did put a new tap in this petrol tank on a previous video. And you're always welcome to look back on the old videos. Still a bit sort of amateurish, but I think that's the whole idea of this. So just push your choke plunger in and just unhook the cable, which is still fighting me, believe it or not. Take that out of the way. So press on here, bring the choke mechanism in, there we go, and just turn that round and unhook it. I don't know why it just wants to fight me. I don't know why. It should just unhook in a couple of seconds, to be honest. You can actually bring that out and leave it on the side, then it's not under tension of the spring like that. It's not something you do every day, and just push it back in. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll push it back in and spin it again. Without it breaking in. I'll do it off camera because I'm leaning forward while I'm trying to do it. So our lever's back in there again, and that's where the cable goes in. That's what I say, you can put a screwdriver on there or whatever, and then we can pull our choke lead out cable, straighten it up a bit. Our throttle's easier because that just pushes in there. It's gonna be hard to show you the throttle itself, but it'd be easy to show you with the the carburetor off. But basically all you're doing is, this is opening the throttle here, and it also works the pump. That's the pump there for the auto lube. The oil comes in, goes underneath, and when the engine's spinning around, there's a drive cog basically that drives it. And so it's a pump basically. When it spins, it's got a concentric action to it like that, so the oil comes in and gets pumped through underneath the carb. It comes out the back of the carburetor and drips into the venturi, into the crankcase, and then is distributed around the piston, barrel, etc. And obviously you've got your spark. But that again, that's another one that's very dead easy when you haven't got a camera in the way, because all you do is put a pliers on it, on the cable, which I can't see at the moment. I'm trying not to block your light as well. So open up your throttle, and probably better to use my fingers to unhook the cable, which again is fighting me. Everything seems to be fighting me today. I can use the screwdriver to take the pressure off the cable. There you go. Our cable's now free. The throttle cable can come away and free. So that's our throttle cable free. So we're getting close to, I'm going to just get an M5 screw for the oil, which should be up here. We'll do it. That's 4. Right, so what we're going to do now, I'll just bring you back over here. And I'll drop you down again. I think that's an M6 actually. That screw should do it anyway. So what we need to do now is pull off our feed for our oil. So just move the clip down. It's a spring clip on the PX, not a screw. Not a screw mechanism. No, that's it, it's free. Then what we're going to do now is, I'll get the screwdriver ready. I'm going to pull the oil pipe off. And we're going to screw that screw into it. That's it. Just to stop the flow of oil. That should be enough. So our oil's disconnected, our throttle, and our choke. Silver everywhere. So we're ready more or less to take the carburetor off. We've got the petrol pipe now. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this. Take down the pipe. We'll have petrol in the pipe as it is. So we're gonna put some petrol on the rag. So we've got no choice but to do that. So you can use a spanner or a socket on here, a screwdriver, depends on how tight you've got it on your intake for your carburetor, for your petrol. Loosen it off. That's too tight for a screwdriver, so I'll get a spanner, which maybe not. Yes, I've got 10. Is that? Yeah, that's a 10. And just give it a little loosen up, take it slowly. You should start seeing petrol coming through. There won't be gallons. Hopefully the my tap's still working, or I'm going to have 5 litres of petrol. You can have a petrol can ready, but hopefully I shouldn't have to, you know, I shouldn't have gallons of petrol come out of this. So I'm taking off the bolt that holds it on, just pull it away, and it looks like my my petrol tap's still working, which is good news. So again, we've got another clip on here on the petrol pipe, so bring that in, bring it down, and just unscrew the carburetor intake and put that down on there, and bring our clip over, and our petrol pipe is ready to pull out, and try and keep it as high as possible so that the floor don't get flooded with petrol. Pretty good. We're not completely soaked. On this later carburetor, you've got Allen bolts that hold it in, not the earlier just nuts, because what I think they did was you could actually break the carburetor mount, and this is a proper Delauto carburetor. It's not a Spaco made out to a Delauto, you know, like you'll buy now from the shops. So I'm just going to put the banjo back on and the bolt that holds it in place. And what I'm going to also do is put the choke on, and then I'm going to go and get some Allen bolts and take the carburetor off. So just keep that out of the way. And we've got our choke mechanism back in, and the little screw that holds it in place. the countersunk one. We probably won't need to, but I will clean the carburetor out. You know, the pipe's pretty clean. There's no dirt in that. I'm quite happy with that. Since I've done the petrol tank, as I say, I bought this petrol tank new and never thought about the tap not working. So it took me, what, 4 years to get round to putting the tap in. No rush. Because when you've got a good carb, you see, the float will stop the petrol coming into your carburetor. That'll do. I don't need to tighten anything down. I'm not taking anything off here at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just go and get the Allen key set, and then we'll take our carburetor off. So if I grab the camera again and just show you what I'm on about. One there and one at the back, which is harder to see with the lighting, but you'll see it when I take it off. And again, don't go mad with these, just do them slightly like that, and the same with the back one. That's it. Again, this is easy to build up when you're doing an engine out of a frame, but what happens, or what tends to happen when you do that, is when you're putting the engine in, you're scratching all in here. As you can see, it hasn't got a scratch on it, which is how it should be. So we're doing these slightly, bit by bit, and there is a spring washer under them. And they're both the same length. And what they're doing is they're screwing right into the casing, which is aluminium. So that's why I say to you, be careful that you don't over tighten anything. And our carburetor will be ready to lift now. With the adjusting screw at the back poking through, you sort of pull the carburetor up and at an angle. Yeah, that's one. So we can grab our screws, pull them out, and we need our screwdriver just to get the washer, big spring type washer. And again, I've never seen one of these rusty, because the petrol vapor gets around them and keeps them from going rusty, basically. So that feels like it's still in a bit. It shouldn't be, but I think it's just riding on the, yeah, it is, it's just sitting on the side of the carburetor. And again, we need the washer again. So I'll put the screwdriver through the washer and fish it out, and then put that back on the second bolt. And as I was saying, they are both the same length. They're your carburetor bolts. I've got some old ones I can show you when we come to put it back, what they look like. Personally, I prefer the old ones, but you know, they've changed them for a reason. So right, carburetor forward and up slightly, and then you pull it towards you. There you go. Simply because of the air screw at the back. Now these are different type air screws depending on which type of scooter you've got. Electric start. This is a non-electric start, early PX 200, and the carburetor at the moment will be full of petrol, so we'll put that to one side because I don't want that pouring out everywhere. And grab our, that's the the top gasket that the carburetor sits on, which appears to be soaking wet. It's not, it's only the fact that, you know, there's petrol spilt out with the taking of the petrol pipe off. There's a screw in here, which if I grab you again, that screw, see it? Move my finger out of the way. That holds the airbox down, so we need that out of the way again. Hopefully this screwdriver will get it. And a quick tip here as well, if you rotate the crankshaft around, hopefully you can see this. If I can get the camera to look down the induction. Right, if I move the carburetor, the crank around, you'll see there'll be an opening in a bit. See that opening? That's when your charge goes into your crankshaft. So what you should do is make sure the crank's rotated enough so it blocks that. Yeah, that's perfect. So if you drop anything in, you're not going to have to rebuild your engine. You'll be able to magnetise it out, etc. So screwdriver in there, and undo that screw. And there's another washer below here, not washer, gasket below here, and I can talk you through where the air mixture goes. So there's our screw that holds on the air filter box. That just pulls straight up and out of the way, and that contains our pump. That's our pump in there. So that's driven by this, which is driven by the rotation of the crankshaft. So that spins up inside here, up inside there even, and turns the pump around. Yeah, I was hoping you could see. You can actually, I might even rebuild that, but you can see where the oil has been going up. So it pumps out this way, goes up here, through the bag, into the carb and drops in. And that's your auto lube system. And because it's purely mechanical, unless that wears out or the crank wears out, it's driven by a cog, which I'll show you, that sits underneath the clutch, and that spins that, turning that, basically giving you drive to your fuel oil mixture pump. So it's a purely mechanical system. So if we grab hold of this gasket, that's the base gasket, what it looks like. And again, it's a brand new gasket. It's got petrol spilt onto it, the same as that one has. I can get them off of my paint, or I'm going to be cleaning the bike again. So I'll move that arm out of the way for the moment. Close this down, taking that bolt out of the way. And how long's that taken us? 15-20 minutes at the most. And we're already down to quite a successful strip down, basically. The bolt that holds the engine is down here, which you can't see because I'm poking at something you can't see. That's the swing arm. The whole of the engine on the PX range, and from VBA, VBB, Sportique, they all follow this type of layout. It's just the 200s. You can see where the cogs are. Sorry, the the studs are for the crankshaft, for the cylinder. Sorry, I'll put my bloody brain in gear in a minute. They're at an angle. That's what I say. They rotated the actual cylinder around. On a PX, that's straight. So the stub axle for the exhaust is straight down. That's why you can't change exhaust between a P200 and a P125 and a 150 even. and even a PX80, they use a straight down cylinder. And I mean, the barrel's just oily. It cleans up like new, nice and shiny. This is my go-to scooter. If I'm ever just want to go somewhere on a scooter, this is the one I go on, because it just works all the time. and it's fast enough for keeping up the traffic, and it's got all the modern lights, decent horn. That's one of the reasons why I built it basically for me, what I would want if Piaggio was building a scooter today. So what we'd need to do to get this barrel off now is to undo the exhaust.